okay? This is going to be like your rent, your other income. You're going to actually subtract vacancy here. So, and then you're going to subtract model units. And then, let's see, what else? Concessions. And then, one second. Okay, so that's going to be, you're going to add your rent, your other income, you're going to subtract vacancy, model units, concessions. You're going to add your utility income or reimbursements. So if you have RUBS, you're going to probably see this right here if they're doing it correctly. So you're going to add all of these together. And I'll share this document with you guys afterward too, so you guys can utilize it and play with it. Okay, so you're going to add your utility income. So any and all of your income goes here. Then you're going to subtract all of the expenses. Do you guys want me to get like really into detail, or do you want me to stay high level?
Details. Always
Detail. Detail. Okay, so there's two types of expenses we have. We have controllable expenses. Okay, this is going to be anything that I can negotiate and change. So you're going to subtract here contract services. You're going to subtract out payroll, repairs and maintenance. You're going to subtract what else is on there? You're going to have admin fees, marketing, phone, office supplies, professional services. So there'll be a bunch, and they'll vary from property to property, okay? That's what's called your controllable expenses. Then you have what's called non-controllable expenses. Those are two things: taxes and insurance. You will never be able to control those because those are external market forces. So when you're looking to save expenses or optimize expenses, you're looking to here. Got it? Are you guys with me? Can I get a yes in the comments if you're still with me?
With you. Yep, we're with you.
Okay, awesome. Okay. All right, awesome. Seeing a lot of yeses. Okay, so now what happens is after we have the income here, and then we have the expenses here, we're gonna put our line here, right? Okay, hold on, I just need to. Can you guys make sure you're on mute? Can you guys make sure you're on mute for me, please? Hi.
We'll get you back in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Hey, Veena,
Yes.
I know there's like 7 spots left. I know someone that's trying to get in. It says it's waiting to be let in. I don't know if there's.
I don't think there's room.
No, it says there's 93 participants. I guess what I was asking.
Oh, I see 100.
No, there are 93.
Okay.
I'm going to make just a little suggestion. What helped me a lot, because I got thrown into doing a bunch of Zooms for PACE with the Gators, go ahead and accept someone as
Effie, hang on 1 second. I'm going to mute everybody because I can't hear you. Okay, Effie, can you unmute now, please?
Sure. What I was going to suggest is when I got thrown into this situation for PACE, because I was running Gator Zooms, and we went to like almost 200 at one point, was to have one person who had co-controls that did nothing but let people in, mute people, and do anything you wanted them to do. And even those two things will relieve you of worrying about, it is true that I think right at this moment you're at 100. But if somebody drops out and there are people waiting, it's nice for somebody who can help to let them in, or to mute so that you don't need to worry about it, or to highlight someone. So, I know that I think Victor has volunteered. It doesn't matter who, but you might want to consider that because it gives you more room to play.
Yeah, I think next time I definitely will. And I think the problem is my account for some reason doesn't let me make a co-host, and I don't know why. But I'll work on that for the next one. Obviously, these were very impromptu, so I definitely will.
You're
next one.
doing awesome. Don't get me wrong.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. And I think everybody is out of the waiting room right now. So I can't see that on my screen when I'm sharing my screen. So if you guys can just ping me if you see an opportunity for me to let people in, I'm happy to do that. Okay, so can we get back to numbers now? Are we ready? Okay, so you guys can still see my screen, yes? Okay, awesome. So here we are. Here is the line, and this is where we get our NOI, our net operating income. You guys should also know too, this is like a fun fact about me, is I never keep my nails long because I like to type fast, and like I got them done and now they're long, and I'm like wanting to peel them off because I can't type as well. But anyway, so the net operating income will be here. This is what you're gonna look to. This is what is going to give you a quick determination of value of your asset. And we're going to get into that in a minute because I'm going to show you how the NOI changes based on value add. Okay, so now here we're going to have minus your debt service, and that's going to give you equals to your free cash flow, net cash flow. Right? So this is the money that you have available to send to your investors. If you don't have investors or your investors don't need cash flow, what you can also do with that is you can take that and reinvest it back into the project because your CapEx comes below the line as well. Now, earlier I had said it's really important that your CapEx does not fall into your repairs and maintenance. Your CapEx has got to stay below the line because it's taxed or it's depreciated differently than all of the other expenses here. It's different and it makes a huge difference to tax returns. So make sure that you have your accounting team keeping a record of CapEx separately than your operating expenditures. And this is almost like 99% of the time. Okay, maybe not that high, maybe like 93% of the time, it's going to fall into your repairs and maintenance, and it should be moved below the line. The other place where you'll most likely see it fall is going to be into like contract services, or if they have like plumbing broken out. Sometimes people put that as a separate line item, it'll fall there. The reason being is that let's say you put in $10,000 worth of new trees on the property. That's a capital expenditure because that's an improvement. It's different than spending $10,000 mowing your lawn and maintaining it. That goes above the line. But if you had $10,000 worth of trees, most likely that should go below the line. You'll obviously want to run this by your tax people because I'm not a tax professional, so it's not tax advice, but it's something to be aware of and to make note of because even asset managers sometimes won't catch that and won't understand that. So make sure that's something that you understand and make sure that you guys know how to look for those things. And in the future, we'll go through like a T12. We'll get a little bit more in depth into T12s and more underwriting, but this is just going to give you guys kind of a baseline. So to get the market value of an asset, right? What we're going to take is we're going to take our NOI, which we just figured out, and we're going to divide it by the cap rate, and that is going to give us our fair market value. Okay. So everyone have your calculators? Put a yes in the comments if you do. If you don't, then you shouldn't be here because there are people waiting to get in that should be here with their calculators. So everyone have their calculators. Okay, good. All right. So let's say in this example, okay, there's $1 million in overall income. There's 500,000 in expenses. That leaves us with 500,000. Oh. Okay, 500,000 in NOI. Let's assume that the market, okay, I don't know why it keeps yelling at me. Sorry, guys. Let's assume that the market is trading at remember that word trading? We talked about trading, not selling, trading, buying, selling, trading. Let's assume it's trading at a 5.5 cap. We're going to take 500,000 divided by 0.055. And what number do you guys get? Do you guys get 9 million? $9,090,909.09. So that is going to be the fair market value. Very rough, back of the napkin, right? That's kind of an interesting number. I did not know it would do that, but okay, so this is the fair market value. So we can assume very safely that if they're asking somewhere around this number, then we know, like, okay, they're probably legitimate, serious sellers. But if we know they're asking for like $20 million on this asset, we're gonna be like, what? Like, we need more information here, or they're not even serious, let's not bother. So this can be the fair market value. Now, one thing I want to point out to you guys is, if you see here, if the NOI goes up, what happens to the fair market value? Right? It'll increase. So our focus is going to be on increasing the NOI. How do we increase the NOI? Well, we have two different areas that we can affect. We can either come in here and decrease and negotiate the contracts, operate more efficiently, and we can decrease these as expenses, or we can increase our income, right? Utility income, most states are going to have a restriction on how much you can actually recapture from your tenants. So this is not an area where I would focus, but we can either create other income by adding like valet trash, we can add pet fees, we can add reserved parking, we can add an amenity fee, pest control. All of those things are going to be other income that we can add. We can also go in and increase our rent, right? So, and for the sake of this example today, we're going to talk about increasing rent in the context of just bringing it to market value. We're not going to talk about it as if there's any renovation that needs to happen, just to kind of keep things a little bit simple. So, okay, here's a great question from Agnes. What do you do when most people claim to have a service dog? So this is an area you want to tread really lightly, because the ADA is something like we want to respect. So for me personally, right, this is just a personal view. I always err on the side of being more lenient and believing a person than not. But one of the first things that we do when we go into an apartment community, for example, when we're doing our unit walks and our due diligence, we'll actually make note if there's any evidence of pets. And if there are, and then in our lease audit, they don't match up and we don't have them on the lease and they're not paying their pet rent, or we don't have a pet deposit or whatever, then we'll go in and we'll talk to the tenant, reach out to them, say, hey, you have a pet, blah, blah, blah. We need to, add this to the lease. This is what it's going to cost. Most people are not, and I also inherently believe that most people are good and they're not, they're trying to see if they get away with it. But I don't think most people are going to go to the extent of trying to be deceptive about this. If they do, obviously we comply with the ADA. We absolutely want to make sure that we are protecting the people that the ADA rules were designed to protect, right? We don't want to make it harder for those people. And so I personally err on the side of believing somebody when they say that. But you're generally going to have some amount of pet rent that is going to go uncaptured because people are going to do that. It's just kind of part of the game here. So you just have to know and accept that. So we don't focus too heavily on those things because it's not necessarily going to add a lot to our bottom line, but it'll add a little bit. So what we want to do here though is let's talk about value add in terms of just making the asset appreciate on value by increasing the NOI. Do you guys want me to go over the NOI and why it affects the market value? Again, give me like a number one if you want me to do that one more time. Okay. All right. So there's enough interest. So I'm going to just scroll back up and I'm going to kind of repeat this for you guys. Okay. So to get to NOI, right, we're taking our income, subtracting our expenses, and it's leaving us with our net operating income. Because our NOI divided by the market cap rate gives us what the fair market value is, if we can increase the numerator, we automatically will increase this number because of the relationship NOI and fair market value have mathematically. So let me put this in a simpler way. Okay, let's say you have $10, right? And let's say you're dividing that. I don't think there's a dividing sign on the computer. Okay, you're dividing it. Let's say you're dividing it by 5, right? What is that going to give you? It's going to give you 2, right? But then if we take 15, or let's say 14, and divide it by the same 5, what are we going to get? 7, right? Or no, we're not. I picked 14 because I thought it'd be easier. Let's take 15, divide it by 5. See, and that's an example of people making mistakes when they do multifamily math. And this is even easier than the stuff that you guys are getting. So now you're saying 15 divided by 5, that's going to give you 3. So by increasing the numerator, which is the top number, do you guys know like numerator, denominator? I know we're like going all the way back to elementary school, but if you haven't used math in a long time, this might be like total refresher for you guys. So just for the people that don't know this, right? So see, someone dropped out of school in 9th grade. This might not be something that you have stored away. So think about it like this. And this is a true story. This is how my elementary school math teacher taught this to me. And I still remember it like 35 years later to this day, or whatever, 32 years later. Okay, so you have your numerator is always on top. Your denominator is always on bottom. And our math teacher taught me to remember it like denominator starts with a D like a donut, and then the nuts go on top of the donut. So the numerator is on top, right? So numerator on top, denominator on bottom. So, and yeah, the other one is like denominator starts with D, so that means it goes on the bottom. So, denominator starts with a D, that means it goes down below on the bottom. So what we have here is if we can increase the NOI, the numerator, the top number, whether it's by this number or by decreasing this number, we increase it by this number or decrease it by this number, as long as this number is higher, if the cap rate is staying the same, our market value is going to inherently increase. So I'll do one more. So if we increase it from 15 to 20, the cap rate stays at 5, then we're still going to be at 4. So do you guys see how increasing the NOI now increases the fair market value? Can I get like a number 1 if we agree?
Veena, this is the first time anyone's done this way instead of using like, big giant numbers.
I know.
I love this. I love this. This is so much easier to
Awesome.
understand. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for that feedback. And guys, when you have feedback like this, it actually really helps me because I know how to talk about this the next time. And I know how to kind of help you guys understand this. So I appreciate you guys for sharing this with me. Okay. Now I think there's more people in the waiting room, but now I don't remember how to let them in. So okay, we're just the people that are here, just here. I don't know. Okay, so now we understand the relationship between NOI and fair market value, right? So now our goal is going to be how can we get this number as high as possible? And we're going to just make the assumption that cap rates are not moving. Now, the reason we make that assumption in this case is because cap rates do not move from like 5 to 10. They don't move from 5 to 5.5 overnight. It takes a long time. It takes a long period of time. And cap rates will come up, they'll go down, they'll come up, they'll go down. Right now, cap rates have still remained fairly stable, especially in those solid markets. That's why we care so much about location, because in solid locations, like if you're in Buckhead of Atlanta, right? Those cap rates are not going to expand dramatically, and they're not going to expand for very long. Even if they do, they're going to keep compressing because those are areas people always want to buy in. So that market is going to remain very stable. So in this example, we're going to use just like a regular cap rate. Now, in the math that we're going to do here, I'm going to start giving you guys different cap rates so that you guys can try different formulas, and you're going to try to see. So, okay, so in this, we right now have a $500,000 NOI. Now, let's say that I've increased the NOI by $100, right? Just $100 in this example up here. I'll use $10. I'll keep it very simple. So let me do this so it's not as confusing. So now, if I've increased it by $10, right? And let's say it was at 20. Now I've increased it by $10. I'm still dividing it by the 5% cap, and that's going to give me 2, right? So now that 2 is what I've added in value, plus the 5 or 4 that I started with before. So that means my new value is 6. Does this make sense still to you guys? Are there any no's? No. Okay, let me go through it again, okay? So let's say we're starting off with the cap rate, the NOI at $20. The cap rate is $5. That means that, or sorry, 5%. That means our fair market value is $4, right? And we're just taking out a bunch of zeros. When we do this on higher priced assets than $20, all we're gonna do is we're just gonna add zeros, because zeros don't really change the equation at all, right? So whether you're looking at this as 20,000 or 20 million or 2 million, it doesn't really matter because the math is gonna stay the same. Okay, so let's say I can go in and I can increase my units by $10 a month. Just increase the rent, right? I'm adding $10 to the NOI, right? So I'm increasing it by $10, which I'm then dividing by the same 5% cap rate. So that means I've increased the value of the asset by $2. Okay, then we're gonna take the initial $4 that we had. See up here, we had this initial $4, and I'm gonna add the new $2 that I've created, and this is gonna give us the new value. Yes, everybody with me now? Does that make sense? Okay, there's the yeses that I wanted. Excellent. Okay, so now you guys see that just by increasing this, even by a little bit, it's gonna make a huge difference. Now, if you guys are math nerds like me, what you can see here is going from $4 to $6 means we've increased 33% in value, which is incredible. Actually, that's not even true. We've increased by 50% in value, right? Because if we divide, or if we multiply 4 by 50%, that's $2, and then we add that, that's $6. So, but that is not necessary to know here, just for math nerds, you guys will appreciate it. Okay, so now here's what we're gonna do. This is going to be your formula for how we calculate what value is added, okay? And this is, again, back of the envelope, like very rough math, okay? So let's use the example that I'm gonna go to a little bit of a larger number now, okay? So we can start seeing this with zeros. So let's say we have 100 units, okay? And let's say that we're increasing each one, let's say we're just increasing it by $50 each per month, and there's 12 months, right? So what's 50 times 12? 600. I know you guys are like calculating and trying to type and trying to take notes at the same time, so I'm gonna help you guys with this math, but keep your calculators out. Okay, so we have 100 units, we've increased $50 a month for 12 months. Let's assume that our occupancy here, let's start with an easy one. Let's say it's 95% occupied. And then let's say this cap rate in this market is, let's use 5%. Okay. So here is how we are going to calculate this, okay? So we have the number of units. We're gonna multiply it by $50 and then by 12 months. So we're gonna basically multiply it by 600. Then we're gonna multiply it by the percent occupied, because this, so, okay, let's first start with the first part of this and then we'll go there. Okay, so you're gonna take 100, I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but you guys have a calculator, so I'll tell you what to type in. Do 100 times the $50 increase, right? And then multiply that by 12. That means every year you're now getting $60,000 in additional cash flow, but 5% of your units are vacant. So 5% of them are not going to pay the $50 increase, right? So we want to subtract that 5% out. So the way you do that is you multiply it by the number that is occupied. So in this case, it's 95% or 0.95, which is going to give you 57,000, right? So 57,000, and this is important to know, 57,000 is the increase in cash flow. So you're going to get that year over year. But here's where the magic of multifamily lies, okay? So in the 50s, taking the 57,000, we just saw what happens to the fair market value of an asset when we increase this number. So let's assume that our expenses are not going to increase just by raising it $50 a month, because we don't have any, like, we're not adding a new contract to get this extra $50. We're just bringing it up to market, right? So now what we're going to do, do you guys remember the formula? Do you guys remember it? Do you remember what we divide by here? We divide by the cap rate. So, and let me actually make this clear. Increase in NOI, not cash flow. Okay, so, and when someone says like there's the cash flow, they can be talking about the NOI or the free cash flow. So it's important for you guys to just ask further, like, oh, are you talking about free cash flow or net cash flow, or do you mean just the cash flow? Because if they say cash flow, it means just the NOI. Okay, so you have 57,000. That's the increase we've seen in our NOI because we're assuming there's no expenses against it, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to divide it by the 5% cap rate. So 0.05. And so what is that number? Yep. Okay, I see everyone's already put it in here. So $1,140,000. This is just an increased value. Okay, let's say you bought this asset at $5 million. That means the new value of these 100 units is going to be $6.14 million. That's the new total value. Okay, so are you guys as excited as I am about seeing the upside potential by just $50 a month? Is everyone excited? Like, if you guys aren't excited, then you're in the wrong room. Okay, so now let's do this over and over and over and over until you're tired of hearing me say the word cap rate, fair market value. And really the fair market value is what someone's going to pay for it. It doesn't matter what I think it is. It matters what the market is willing to pay for it. So I'm going to give you guys another example. And this time I am not going to tell you the answer. I want you guys to put it in the chat once you guys get it. And if you don't understand how to get here still, I want you to raise your hand so that you and I can talk through an example together. Okay. All right. So this time I'm going to give you my computer is yelling at me. Okay. 45 units. Okay, your increase is going to be $150 a month. You are going to assume that you're 97% occupied. And let's use sorry guys, 5.5% cap. Okay, I want you guys to calculate what is the increase in value on these 45 units. Okay, actually, I don't know the answers. I have to check what you guys are doing and make sure you guys got this right. Let's see. 45 times 1. Okay, you guys are correct. Good job. Okay, now I want anybody that doesn't understand how to do this calculation, raise your hand, please. Is there a way to raise your hand? Is that a thing? Because people did it yesterday. Okay, so literally all 100 people on this call can do this calculation if I give you a different variation of numbers. Is that what you guys are saying? Because that means I did a great job. Okay, Larry, excellent. Thank you for being brave. Let's go through this together, okay? I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Morning.
Okay, good morning, Larry. It's good to see you. Okay, so I'm going to walk
I have no idea how to do this.
Okay, I'm going to walk through it with you. We're going to go through it together, and I want you to punch it into your calculator as we go along, okay? Ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 45 units. So let's start with 45. Okay, and we're going to increase each of those units by $150 a month. Okay, so that means we need to multiply all 45 units by $150, right?
Okay.
That gives us what?
6,750.
Exactly, but that's per month in additional cash flow. So let's multiply that by how many months in the year?
12.
Exactly. So now what do you get?
81,000.
Okay, we're on the right track. Now, because we're only 97% occupied, that means 3% of the units are not paying this $150 a month increase. So let's account for that, and let's say that since we only have 97% occupied, let's multiply it by 0.97.
The 81,000, we're
Yeah.
multiplying by 0.97. Okay. Okay,
What do you have?
78,570.
Yes, okay, now, we know that's the additional cash flow that's added in a year, but we saw how NOI divided by cap rate equals the fair market value, right? So now we're gonna divide it by the cap rate that I gave you guys here, which is 0.055 or 5.5%, however you wanna do it. What number do you have?
So divide 78,570 by 0.055.
Yep.
Um, 1,428,545.
Woohoo! Okay, so you did it.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, guys, everybody else follow that along? All right, yeah, let's give Larry a round of applause for that.
I did, and I'm very glad that Larry was the one that went up. So thank
I
you
am
so
too.
much.
I am
I
too.
follow.
Guys, I know that this is listen, this is a new language for a lot of you, right? And if you didn't go to college, you didn't go take an algebra class, it's easy because we're adding and subtracting, but sometimes following why we're doing certain things can be hard. So this is a muscle, and you guys if you've never done it before, you're just starting out, it's like running a marathon. You can't just go and start running a marathon. You have to train for it, and you have to practice for it, right? And you have to train your body. So we're training our minds right now. It's a muscle. We're going to keep exercising it. Okay, so I'm going to give you another one. You guys ready for another one? Who's ready for the next?
Wait, me and one thing.
Yeah,
When I went to algebra class, I thought we were having pi when they said pi r squared when I was in ninth grade.
I mean, I would prefer to have pi than be talking about 3.1415.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
I'm really proud of all of you guys, especially the people that did not get it the first time, and even more so for Larry for being such a shining example of how we get better together, right? It's not scary. And Larry, I hope you recognize that there are probably many other people that were here that just didn't have the same courage. So kudos to you for stepping up and, taking one for the team essentially, because I think that's incredible. You've done it. You got it. You got it. Now sometimes you just need someone to talk through it a different way, to say it again, to repeat it again. I mean, you guys just saw me make a mistake dividing 14 by 5. So trust me, this is completely normal. Get settled right into making incorrect calculations and rechecking them 1,000 times, because this will happen forever and ever and ever, no matter how many calculations you've made. So, all right, I'm going to give you, who's ready for the next example? Give me a number 1 in the comments if you're ready. All right, it looks like you guys are ready. Okay, awesome. Okay, here we go. Let's go big this time, right? Let's do 308 units. Okay, let's do, give me 1 second. I'm gonna mute everybody so that we don't have background noise. Okay. Okay, Daryl asks, does it matter what the bed bath count is for doing value add? Yes and no. When we get into way deeper levels of underwriting and calculations, it'll matter. For the purposes of this is just quick and dirty when you're looking at buying a property. You're going to ask the broker market, what's the delta to comps in the market, right? Those are questions we're going to ask. And let's say the broker says, oh, you know what? Easily $250 below market rents. This has $250 below market rents. That means that you can go in and you can increase it. So that might mean taking it from 1,000 to 1,250. It might be taking it from 4,000 to 4,250, whatever that number is that the rent is currently. You're just going to go in and you're going to add another 250 to it. But for right now, we're just looking at what is the value that we can add to the property by increasing the rent. So, okay, for those of you guys that missed delta, okay, I see there were some people that were here yesterday that know what the delta to the market, the delta to the comps. Delta is actually another math term, which just means the difference. So what is the delta between 8 and 10? It's 2. What is the delta between 10 and 8? Still 2, right? But it's negative. And so, or whichever way it is, one's negative, one's positive. It just means the change. It's a rate of change or rate of difference. So 308 units, you have $250 a month. Okay, let's call it. Let's say we're 92% occupied. And let's trade this one at a 4. Actually, let's do it at a 5 cap. 5 cap. What is the value that is added? Okay, I see. I want to check what you guys are saying before I stand behind it still. Hold on. It's 12, 2. Hey, good job, guys. You guys got it. I love it. Okay, Alexis, I see you have your hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hey, what's going on, Veena? Thank you.
Hi. Of course.
My question is regarding the rent increase. Is the formula suggesting that we'll increase the rent $250 every month? Is that realistic?
Yes, because remember, when you're signing a lease, you're signing it for 12 months. Right? So this is not month over month. This doesn't mean you start out at 1,000 and then next month it's 1,250 and then the next month it's another 250, so it becomes 1,500, then 1,750. This is just saying you are taking the rent. So rent is going from $1,000 a month, right? And we're going to take it to $1,250 per month. Does that make sense?
Oh, I see. Thank you.
And because you're signing a 1-year lease, we're assuming everyone's signing a 1-year lease. It's going up by $250 every single month from the 1,000 that it would have been at before. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. All right. So now all of you guys that got $17,001,600, that is the right answer. So now the question is there anybody that did not get that wants to walk through it? Be brave like Larry if you didn't get it. Okay, Tiffany, is that you?
Yes, I got it. That wasn't
it. Okay.
But my question is, so like when you're looking at this value add, like, and yes, you're increasing the rents. Like as you come in, first off, can you increase the rents that much, or is this only to new leases that are coming in?
Very good question. So if you're going into a property, in this example, it's 92% vacant or 92% occupied, right? Which means that it's 8% vacant, right? So you're going to start doing it immediately on the vacant unit. It's 8%. You can immediately start with a value add.
Right. Okay.
Right? Then as your leases expire, you'll start doing your renewals and you can renew it and you can try to increase it there, or you can go in and lease it to somebody new at the increased rent. Now, there's a lot of strategy behind that, and I don't want to get too complex on this call, but on our assets, about 60% renew, but you probably are going to expect around like 40 to 50% to renew on assets. So there's a strategy behind it. We can go into that when we get like really in depth into like strategy and underwriting. But for right now, you just assume that you're going to start increasing it, and within a year, all your leases will turn, and you assume you can bring it to the market rent in that 1 year.
And then the value of that property, when you bring all, the rents and all that stuff up, that really matters when you are going to, like, the end goal, when you're going to sell it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm so happy you caught that. So yeah, that's what matters, right? Is because now we're going and selling this for $17,001,006 more than what we bought it for, or we're refinancing, we're pulling that money back out. Oh, here's another fancy multifamily word for you guys. Re-leveraging the debt. It's a very fancy way of saying we're refinancing. So we're going to re-lever or re-leverage the debt. Anyone re-lever is what I usually say because I'm lazy and I don't want to say all the syllables. But you're going to re-lever the debt. And you're gonna pull out a portion of that $17 million in new equity that you've created. So this new appreciation and the new value is actually called equity, right? Because now it's not debt, it's just added value. And the value portion is equity in the deal.
Gotcha. Totally.
Makes sense?
Yes. Thank you. See, well, why am I going after thinking of 50 years? What the heck? I need to go after 300 and more. Like,
Yeah, you do.
okay, look at this.
Yeah, that's like the rule is whatever you guys are thinking when you're starting out, like add a zero, like think bigger.
Makes sense. Got it. Thank you so
So,
much.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, and then I can't see your full name. I can only see Yon, and that's it. But I see your phone number. Let me see.
Hi, sorry.
Hello. What is your name? Yonetti?
Yonetti. Yes.
Yonetti. Nice to see you.
Hi.
Did you get this math question right?
I got the wrong number, so
Okay, let's do it together. Ready?
okay.
Okay, you have your calculator?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I have my calculator. Okay, first we're gonna start with the number of units. How many units are we putting in?
308
Okay, and then yeah,
times 250
good job.
times point
No, wait, going too fast. We are getting 250 each month. We can't leave money on the table, right?
Oh, times, okay, yes, I forgot that's what it is. That's what it is.
Okay, yep,
Times 12.
yeah, and
yeah,
then
divided by.
no, then we have to multiply it by the occupancy, so times 0.92,
Okay.
right? So you should have $850,080. Are you guys with me?
All right. So I'm at. No, I got lost.
Okay, let's start over at the beginning. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the numbers to punch in, and then we'll talk about why each of them. Right. So we're starting with 308 units.
Okay.
Right. We're increasing all of those by $250 a month, and then we're increasing those by 12 months. So because it's a full year lease, so we're multiplying by 12. You should have 924,000. Okay, good. Then we're gonna multiply it by 0.92 because that's the occupancy. So only 92% of our units are going to pay us the additional $250 a month, okay? So that gives us $850,080.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to take that and we're going to divide it by the cap rate, which in this case is 5%. So since I want to like make sure we're not missing anybody with basic math. So expressing a percent in decimal form is just moving. So you're going to take the decimal from here and you're going to move it over two spaces and then put the decimal there. So 5% is going to be equal to 0.05. So when you're dividing it and you divide it by 5%, you're going to divide by 0.05. It's the same thing. Because back in the day, they didn't have these little percentage calculators like we do on our iPhones now. So then when we divide it by the 0.05, we get, what did you get, Unity?
17001,600.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
I
Thank
think
you.
you just missed the 12 months.
Yes.
Yeah, guys, we can't make any money if we only charge for 1 month of increase. We need to have all 12 months.
Thank you.
So awesome, no problem. Thank you for raising your hand and letting me walk through that with you. Because I guarantee you there are other people that did not get this right. Well, you guys want to do another one? No? Everybody's bored? Okay, there we go. I see some yeses. All right, let's do it again. Okay, let's do you guys like give me like a number 1 if you like the bigger numbers, or give me a 2 if you want me to keep it a little bit smaller. Okay, no one's even interested in talking about like the 40 units anymore. Okay, so let's do a larger one. Let's do 242 units. Okay, you're gonna increase it. Let's say you're gonna get 150 a month. Okay, per month. Remember, you have 12 months in a year, so you're gonna increase it by $150 a month. And let's say our occupancy, let's say it's 93%. Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear when my computer dings at me like that? Oh, you can't? Oh, because it's so loud on my end. I'm like, oh, it's yelling at me. Okay. And then let's say that let's put it at a high cap. Let's say it's a 6% cap. Okay. Jeanette, yes. At the end of the year, if you are increasing the rents, well, not necessarily to 3,000. It depends where you're starting the rent, right? So if the rent in this example here is starting at $850, I'm raising it from $850 by $150. So $850 plus $150 is going to give me $1,000. So the new rent at the place is going to be $1,000. Okay. Mike Key, I like this response. He says, $6 million, insert Dr. Evil laugh. And Mike, you know what? In fact, you're leaving $750,000 on the table. So everyone else got 6.75. All right, so let's walk through the math of it together. Let's punch it in. 242 units times $150 a month. So 150 times 12 months in the year. That gives us 435,600. Then we're going to multiply it by the occupancy. So we said percentages expressed as decimals. This is basically the same as saying 0.93, right? So 0.93 is going to give us 405,108. And then we divide it by the cap rate. So divide by 0.06. And what numbers, I mean, you guys have already put the answer here. It's $6,751,800. So if you were to buy 242 units and you're just increasing it by $150, that's going to give you an additional value of almost $7 million, $6.75 million. So now on this next example, I want to look at what happens if we take the same numbers, okay? What happens if we don't increase it by $150 a month? Let's say we add $25 a month for valet trash, okay? What is the increased value just from adding $25 a month? I'm so proud of all you guys. You guys are getting this math. I'm doing the math with you guys, okay? Okay, this is correct. 1.125300. So, okay, here, let me repeat it again for you guys. So you have 242 units. We're gonna multiply that by $25, just $25 on this asset. And then we're gonna multiply it. Remember, don't forget to multiply this by 12 months, right? Because we're gonna get that $25 every single month. Then oh, sorry, was there, somebody said something. Then we have 93% occupancy. So only 93% of our tenants are paying for this. So we're going to multiply by 0.93 or 93%. And then we're going to divide it by a 6% cap rate. And that's going to give you the $1,125,300, which is the value we've added by not doing anything else on the asset. All we've done is add valet trash. So you guys see that on this size of an asset, you've now added $1 million, over $1 million, just by adding $25, which is crazy. So let's take that like actually a little bit granular. I want to show you guys what happens, because I want you guys to start thinking about how you can look at assets when you're buying them, right? Let's look at this same example, but let's say all you're doing is you're adding $5 of pest control. Okay, so let's walk through the math together so that anybody who isn't following it can punch it in. Okay, so we have 242 units multiplied by $5 times 12, which gives us $4, right? Only 93% of our units are paying that, so times 0.93. And then we're going to divide that by 0.06, which is the cap rate. That adds $225,000 of value to the asset. by adding just $5. Now, if we were to add $10, it's going to add 450,000. If we were going to add $20, that takes it almost to $1 million, to 900,000. Let's say we were to do it by $40. We've now added 1.8 million. So you guys see why this is exponential. And you see where the value is in being able to control the pricing and the market value of multifamily. So, Victor, I see you. I know you got this math.
Well, I know we had this much fun, and one of the things, guys, what Veena's telling you, you're basically stacking. You always hear, hey, we're going to raise your rents by $400. This is where you're doing the $400 because you're just forcing appreciation to this entire property. And then the most important number, like Veena says, is the number of units. The more units you have, that's going to be your multiplier. And then you're just adding value. Valet parking, not valet, cover parking. You can build a garage on there, trash pickup, dog parks, and you just stacking and stacking. That's not even accounting for the rents yet, because you might be buying the property at a lower market rent. Then you're able to increase it just enough to get it where you're supposed to be. That's not even going into details on the remodeling. And then you're able to churn those tenants out, and you're bringing a different avatar tenant in there to pay that higher rent. And this is how you make magic money.
Exactly. And I like your point about the units, right? So let's look at what's this exact same scenario on 100 units. Who has the fastest fingers? Okay, 93,000. Even? Wow. Okay. Oh, it makes sense. It's 100 units. No, wait. Is that right? Is that right? I think it sounds right, but I'm not sure. I want to make sure before I tell the rest of you that. Divided by, I don't know what to count this 0.93 divided by 0.0. Wow, at a 6 cap, it really is exactly 93,000. So $93,000. So you see the difference. If you are doing the same thing on 242 units, you're going to make more than double what you're going to do on 100 units, which makes sense, right? Because all the other metrics stayed the same. But what you have to understand here is that's where the power in multiplying comes, and the scalability of multifamily comes, because you can just as easily buy 242 multifamily units as you can 100 units. I know there's like a caveat that it's a little bit more difficult, etc. But you have to keep stretching your mind to think that, because I guarantee you it is much easier to buy one asset with 242 units than it is to go and buy 242 single family homes that are going to produce the same kind of revenue for you consistently. So it's really important to understand the difference here. Okay, do you guys want to do like one or two more? Well, I'm going to try to end this call in about 15 minutes because my sister's coming into town and I'm waiting for her. Okay, how long is it usually when you refinance after acquiring a property? That's a really great question. Depending on your debt, usually you'll have what's called a lockout period, which will usually be a year, maybe 2 years, depending on your debt. Usually a year is pretty standard in today's market. That means you cannot do anything in a year. Even if you've increased the value by the 17 million in 1 year, it does not matter. You cannot refinance. But most people will look for the first 2, maybe 3 years to restabilize, reposition, which means implement the value add plan. And then once they implement that after 2 to 3 years, usually you'll see some kind of a refi there, like a cash out refi or re-leveraging, right? So that's usually where we'll see it. Pauline, hello.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
My question is around, like, is there a number that you generally look for as an average for a percentage increase, or does it just depend on what you're comfortable with?
So what we would do with the NOI projection on exit, and this is a little bit more complex than like a 101, But what we're gonna do with that is we're gonna take that and we're gonna see how it affects investor returns. So depending on how it moves my cash flow, that's what I care about the most, is how much free cash flow I end up having.
Okay. Okay.
Makes
awesome.
sense.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Okay, are you guys ready to do a couple more before we head out? I'm gonna do it like, we're gonna go through this faster and faster because every time you guys do it, you're gonna get better and better and better. Okay, are we ready? Okay, I'm gonna go small for a minute because I want you guys to see the difference between small and big assets, okay? So let's say we're looking at 48 units, okay? You're gonna get, because they're smaller, let's say it's mismanaged, you're gonna get $300 per month on each of these. Occupancy is great because it's mismanaged, so you're gonna have 100% occupied because they're $300 below market, okay? You're gonna have a, let's say it's a 6% cap. Okay, what is the added value you guys are gonna get? Okay, 288. Okay, so this is the added value, but this was a trick question because that's the right number from the calculation I showed you, but let's talk about strategy real quick. Okay, on this example, it's 48 units, so it's probably managed like in-house, like from a smaller operator, right? Like it's not gonna be a massive, like multi-billion-dollar fund managing it. So the thing is, at 48 units, they are currently under market, and that's why they're gonna be at 100% occupancy today. But we have to assume if we take it up to buy $300 and bring it to the market, that the occupancy will somewhat fall to, unless the market is like $400 or $500 above the current rents. The delta to current market is $400, $500. Then we actually would technically assume that our 100% occupancy will drop to whatever the average occupancy is in the area. So maybe that's like 94, 95. But I gave you these numbers, so yes, for sake of this, 2.88 is the correct answer. But I just want you guys to be thinking about this. Even though numbers are like, they're static, they don't change, the formulas are the same. All it's going to change is the inputs, your outputs, and the way you get there is going to be the same. It's important for you guys to recognize that it's not so black and white. I always say this, underwriting is as much of an art as it is a science, because most people probably would not see this and then go, okay, I'm not actually going to probably increase it by 2.8 because I'll probably have a drop in my occupancy, unless you've done this a lot of times and then you know to look for that, right? Jessica asked, is it typical to raise rents that many by $100 immediately? The answer to that is yes and no. So on this, it's going to take us probably a full 12 months because we're 100% occupied. But on this example, we're going to start with the 7% that are vacant. Here's another like trick for you guys when you're doing lease audits, and we'll go into this way more in depth later on, but I'm just going to give you guys this as like a little bonus while we're talking about occupancy and leasing. You're going to assume that on average, about 8.3% of your leases are going to come up for renewal or expiration every single month. The way we get to that is we're going to take our like 1/12 of the year, right? So 1 month out of 12 months, we want to see that percentage of lease expire. So divide 1 by 12, you're going to get 8.3. And then what's going to happen is those 8.3%. So let's say on this example, right, on 100 units, every month I'm going to have about 8 to 9 tenants that are going to be up for renewal. That means their lease is expiring. So either they have to renew their lease at the new price, which in this example, we've increased by only $5 a month. In this example, maybe I'm going to say, hey, you have to increase by $300 a month. So in this example, those 8 to 9 are going to have to increase by this, or they're going to have to move and I'm going to find another tenant. If you don't know what the average vacancy rate for the area is, for purpose of underwriting, what do you use as an average vacancy rate? You should know what the average vacancy rate is for the area. And if you, look who's calling me. Let me say hi to him. Hold on, tell him all you guys are here. Hey, what's up? I'm on a Zoom, an impromptu Zoom underwriting, and all of your students that are in here right now are saying hi. So, yes.
high pace.
Oh, so you're non-stop talking. Oh, I know. I have so much to tell you. Okay, let me do this. Let me finish this up and then I'll call you. Okay, love it. All right, thanks. I appreciate you. And hey, everybody's saying thank you and hello. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me put you on speaker. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Pace, Victor the Connector, baby.
Hi, babe.
Hey, Paige.
Amazing.
Hello.
Hey, Paige.
Appreciate you
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, lotion.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Someone said, called me wondering why they're not in your Zoom right now.
Woof, woof.
All right, I'll call you back.
Hey, bye.
All right, thanks, bye. That was funny. What a great interruption. So, isn't he the best? He really is. He's amazing. Okay, do you guys want to do one more? Are we still here for more? Are we getting bored? Are you guys like, I'm done with this? Because if you are, then you could just like step right out of multifamily right now because this is going to be the rest of your life now. Okay, awesome. Let's do another one. Okay, so we did a small one and we saw, okay, we can, I mean, like, who could use $3 million? Like, I can. I'd be fine with that if I had an extra $3 million, right? So let's see what happens if we think bigger and we're like, okay, we're gonna do something that's gonna make us like super uncomfortable. Let's go real big. What do you guys think? Should we go like huge? Okay, I'm gonna give you, this is the largest number of units I got on one deal before, so I'm gonna give you that. Okay, we're gonna buy 494 units. And we're gonna buy them in a market where our delta is $130 per month. And I'm gonna get another $25 in valet trash. Okay. And we're gonna trade this at, since it's such a big asset, it's in a great market. Let's say it's up, let's say 5%. That's still very conservative. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys the occupancy, didn't I? Okay, occupancy on this asset. Let's call it 94%.
The occupancy, what was this cap?
Cap rate's 5%. Okay, I see some numbers rolling in. Okay, now you guys might be thinking like, wait, but we got $17 million on a much smaller asset, right? But that was with $250 in increased rent. So now we only need to increase by 130 plus the 25. Okay, I'm gonna walk through this with you guys so that you guys can see how to calculate it. All right, are we ready? We're gonna do 494 units multiplied by, what are we gonna multiply it by? All right, good job, 155. So the way we got to 155 is we're adding 130 and 25 together because that's the total amount that we're adding each month, right? And then we're gonna multiply that by 12. And then we're gonna multiply that by 0.94. And then divide by 0.05, which is our cap rate. So we get $17,274,192 in added value. Are you guys with me? Okay, say yes if you're still with me. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, let's do another. I mean, you guys are doing these fast now. Is there anybody that didn't get that one? Raise your hand, don't be shy. Okay, so literally 100 people now understand this. Raise your hand if you did not get it, because I want to go through all of this. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. I'm so proud of you guys. Give your guys selves like a big round of applause. It's amazing. Daryl, hi. Okay, are you ready? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, Daryl. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, are you ready to do this together?
Okay. Yep, I'm ready.
Do you have a calculator?
Yep, ready.
Okay. I'm gonna bring out my calculator too. Okay, so we have 494 units, so put in 494.
Okay.
Now, remember, we are getting 130 plus $25 a month for each unit in rent and valet trash. So we're gonna multiply it, 130 plus 25 is 155, right?
Right.
So we're gonna multiply it by 155. What do you get?
I think I know where I messed up.
Okay, what did
I
you
got
do?
76,570. Now I have to times that by 12, right?
Exactly.
I think that's where I skipped the step the last time.
Okay, yeah, no leaving money on the table. We want all 12 months rent.
Times 12. Then I times that by the occupancy, which is
94.
which gave me 863,709.
Yep.
Divided by the cap rate, which is 0.05, which gave me 17,274,192.
Yes, we got it. Give them a round of applause, guys. Great job.
Thank
You
you so
just
much.
forgot all the 11 other months of the year.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm a Leo and I'm an August Leo, so like all I really care about is August. So I could give or take the other 11 months, except it makes me a lot of money, so I want to remember that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely, great job, great job. Everybody else got that? Oh, look at how many August Leos there are. It is such a Leo thing to say, isn't it? Okay, you guys want to do another one? You guys are doing this like so fast. We can go through so many more. Are you guys bored? You want to do another? Okay, another. We're gonna do another. Okay, I am going to do. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to trick you guys, but you guys are too good now. Okay, let's do 233 units. You're gonna get $100 per month in rent, but you're also gonna get $75 with a smart home package. And our occupancy is gonna be 97%. This is gonna trade, this is like a solid location. It's gonna trade at a 4.5 cap. What happens? Oh, I'm August 18th. I see all the Augusts here.
That's my son's birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's the best day to be born. Do you guys want to know a really crazy fact about my family? So my grandfather, my cousin, my second cousin, and I are all born on August 18th. It's weird. We're an August Leo family, and specifically August 18th.
You know, we'll keep it PG. How about that?
Please. It's like I was born that day, so.
You're all lions.
We are a family of lions, and everybody else is born in, basically, if you're not born in August in my family, you're born in July or May, or you're just like a weirdo if you're in my family. So, yeah, so many bosses in this family. July's the second best, Mike. My girls are born in July. They're 7/11. That's the second best birthday. Okay, are you guys ready? Who has the answer to this? I know we got sidetracked talking about the zodiac, but I feel like you guys came here for multifamily instead of hearing how all Leos are the best Leos. All right, 10,547,133. Okay, I'm gonna check and see if you guys are right. All right, so we're gonna do 233 times 175 because we're adding the 100 and the 75, right? And we're gonna multiply that by 12 months. So I want to pause here for a second. Right now we're at 489,300. This is the additional cash flow that you're getting into a month. And when we get to our end number, we're not even counting the amount of cash flow that we've taken in throughout the year. We're only counting what the new value of the asset is. So if you guys think that the added value is incredible, consider all the cash flow. And we'll add one more thing, if that's not already cool enough, is it's all tax efficient. It is so tax efficient that you can't make these returns in other asset classes. I mean, you can, but not without inherent risk. So, all right, let's keep going. So we have the 489,300 Now we're gonna multiply it by 97% or 0.97. And then we're gonna divide it by our cap rate, right? Cap rate, we're ready? So 0.045. And we're adding $10,547,133. When you guys see this, does it show up forward or backward on your screen? Forward, is it the right way? Normal, okay. All right, awesome. So you guys see this? So that's the value we've added. But let's go back a step. I'm gonna walk it back a step. So let's do 233 times 175 times 12. So this 49,300 is the amount you're adding every year. Let's say you held it for 5 years. You're gonna take home 2.446 million in cash flow. And the way I got to that is I just multiplied the additional value, and actually let me multiply that by 0.97. Let's assume it's still 2.373. Like when you guys, the thing you need to realize is the more digits you have in a number, the more insignificant $10,000. So if you have $10,000 and you're off by $10,000 on a $50,000 budget, you're off by 20%. If you're off $10,000 on $100,000 budget, you're off 10%. If you're off $10,000 on $1 million budget, you're off by 1%. Like, who cares? That's a rounding error, right? So the bigger it is, and the more zeros there are, and when we say zeros, we mean decimal places, right? So you have 3 zeros here, 4 zeros here, right? Like you guys can count. But the more zeros you have, or even this number, are zeros, right? So it's just how many places there are after the first number. It doesn't actually have to verbatim be a zero. But the more zeros that you have, the less being off by like $1 or $5 really matters on your assets. So does this make sense? Yes, everybody's with me? Okay, guys, I have got to get going because I see everybody getting ready to, like, I think they're on their way. They keep messaging me. So I think they're on their way here. They're almost here. I appreciate all of you guys so much for being so valuable to this space and being vulnerable here, because I know this is hard. This is like new for a lot of you, but I promise you, if you keep doing it, like, can you give me like a number 1 in the comments if you thought that from the first one we asked it, you were like, oh, I got this so much easier, right? Like, does everybody feel like from the start to now they've like significantly improved? Yes, I love it. Okay, good. This is what, and I want you guys to like go into Christmas now, and all you're gonna think about is multifamily and how amazing this is, and why you didn't know about it sooner, and why you weren't in it sooner. But now you guys are gonna go in, you're gonna get some downtime, you can read, you can learn more, spend more time hanging out in the group. I have one extra thing for those of you that stayed longer. I'm going to drop the sign up for the legal challenge that Nick and I are gonna be hosting. I don't know the exact start date yet, but you can start getting into the group and signing up. So I'm gonna copy that link and send it over to you. You do have to be in the main group, the Mastering Multifamily with Veena Jetti group, in order to be accepted here. But here's the form for you guys to go fill out. The group is now open, and we're going to get started here in the next like week or two, probably right after the holidays. We'll start with the legal challenge and get that ball rolling. So here it's here. I don't know how to like stop comments or anything so that you guys can see the link, but hopefully you guys saw it. I'll post it. It'll be in the Mastering Multifamily group too, but I just wanted you guys to get first access to it since you guys all joined and stayed this whole time. I appreciate all of you guys. I hope you guys have a good holiday. I know we're like already in the middle of Hanukkah and Christmas is around the corner, so I hope you guys have a good holiday. If you're in Dallas, stay warm. It's supposed to be really cold here again. And I will see this. Chicago's cold? Yeah, but Chicago's always cold. It's meant to be cold. It would be weird if it was warm. Dallas is not meant to be this cold.
No.
So
That's
Veena,
why
thank
I
you
have
for
to
everything.
leave
You always give
Chicago.
us a lot of knowledge, even with your Instagram, Facebook, and everything else.
yes,
So keep on doing what you're doing.
thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Happy
Bye.
holidays.
You
Appreciate
too.
you.
Happy holidays. Okay, guys, I will see you soon.
Really great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Veena.
Thank you.
Record.